All right, James. James, where are you from originally? Where did you grow up?
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas. Tell me about your family.
I'm the oldest of two boys. My graduated from high school. I actually go back in 12th grade. I was molested and raped by my cousin, and my grandmother came all the way from Portland, Oregon, and went to court and got custody of me. And then my dad tried to kill me and my grandmother. So my grandmother moved me out here to get away from him. And then I got out here. Been gay all my life. Got out here and started using drugs and got stuck on Skid Row. And now I'm having a hard time getting off Skid Row. I lost my brother 2 weeks ago. The Garrison disease, he choked to death.
I'm sorry.
And then,
So back to your childhood. So you were molested at what age?
I was 12 years old.
12.
For about 6 years, I told my mom and them, and they didn't believe me. They thought I was lying. And I finally told my grandmother at Christmas on when I was 12 years old on Christmas, and she went to court and got custody of me. And then my dad pulled a gun on us outside the courtroom and was going to kill us. And
She was going to take you back to Oregon?
he did not want my grandmother taking custody of me. He wanted me to stay where I was at and basically live in the situation I was living, being abused. But lucky enough, my grandmother saved my life, because I would have been dead by now. I have no doubt about it. With my cousin, every day he'd come over and babysit, and Mom would leave. I'd be asleep. He'd come in. I'd be on top of me, molesting me and raping me. And if my grandmother hadn't got me out of there, I'd been dead. I wouldn't be here today.
And how did you end up in Los Angeles?
My grandmother moved out here. She had a house out here, so she brought me out here to get me away from him.
At what age?
He had stated that if I stayed in Texas, he was going to do what he promised, and that was kill me, because I turned against him and sent my cousin to prison. And
So you came to Los Angeles at what age?
I was 13.
13.
And then I had to go back to court, and sent my cousin to prison, and come to find out, it came out in court, I wasn't the only one he had molested. There was like 13 other kids, and I was the only one that was a brave little child, as they call it, to step forward and say something. And
Where is he today?
Huh?
Where is he today?
He's in jail still.
Still?
He got out and then ended up raping a girl and molesting 2 more kids, and they sent him back to prison.
Really? How much older was he than you?
He right now is not getting out.
No, but
right now I'm fighting it.
When this was going on, how much older than you was?
I was 12. He was 21 years old.
Wow.
And parole of Texas has sent me a letter wanting me to come forward and say help him get out on good reason. And I'm not willing to do that, because I don't feel safe still, and I'm not comfortable. And then a year ago, I got to know I have a niece and nephew. I haven't known them, hadn't seen them since since they were born, and that was because their mother didn't approve of me being gay. She thought it was going to rub off on them, and 4 months ago, after their daddy died, both boy and a girl called me and said Uncle James, your mom Nana, which is my mother, told them about me, that I was still alive and I was out here. They called me 4 months ago and said, we want to come to California. We want to come stay with you and be out here next to you. And at first, and with tears in my eyes, I said no, for the simple fact that for so many years, I didn't exist to them, and hung up on them. And then my mother called me back 2 hours later, and she said, hey, you need to let these kids come out there to you, because their daddy, I didn't know this, their daddy had stated on his deathbed to my mother that he wanted his kids to get to know me. And I still have a hard time dealing with it, because I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to say goodbye to him. So on a daily basis, I see them out here daily, and it reminds me of him, because they look just like him. I have to hide my emotions because I don't want them to see that it hurts.
You went through a lot as a kid.
That it hurts that I didn't get to say goodbye. And then a week ago, my niece, which plays basketball for USC, she informed me that she was gay. She'd been gay since she was 18 years old. She was scared to tell me because she's afraid I'd be mad at her. I said, no. You know I am. I'm not going to judge you for it. So we've gotten a bond closer now that way. And then my nephew, he played football for UC Santa Barbara, and ended up meeting a girl out here, getting her pregnant, and sent her home to Chicago, Illinois. And me knowing my brother like I know him, I made my nephew get on a plane the next day after he told me he'd gotten her pregnant. Made him get on a plane the next day and go to Chicago and take responsibility for the kid. And he did end up getting there, and 2 weeks after he got there, they got married. And after they got married, she went into labor and had a baby boy. And then a month after they got married, he was in a car wreck. A car had run a red light and hit him, and they had to literally cut him out in four different sections to cut him out of the car. He ended up breaking a back, ribs, both legs. I didn't know this had occurred because my mother knew we had gotten close, so they didn't tell me until after he had surgery, and he was in a wheelchair 4 months, and then after that, he ended up being able to get up on a walker, start walking again. And when he got up doing like this, my mother then informed me that he had been in a bad car wreck and like to lost him. And I got mad at her and I said, why'd you wait 5 months after it happened to tell me? She said, because of some fact you got close to him, you're losing him. Like you lost your brother. She said, as your mother, I wasn't willing to go that route with you for the fact that, she said, you carry your emotions on your shoulder. You get attached, and when someone gets hurt that you love, you cry. And she's right. I took these kids under my wing, and get to know them. But it's hard because for 19 years, I didn't exist. And I'm having to go back and pick their lives up piece by piece, a little at a time, because I don't want to rush it, because I've been out of their lives for 19, I was out of their lives for 19 years, and I don't want to just bombard them and get to know them real quick. Take my time, that way they can get comfortable with me, because this first time in 19 years, they've even seen me. And Kyra, she graduated high school, and she was the one. I was at work. I draw blood for a living at California Hospital. I was at work. She called me. I didn't know who she was. She called me my nickname Jimbo. And then I said, who is this? She said, it's Kyra. And then when she said Kyra, I started putting pieces together. And I said, she said, before you say anything, get mad. Nana, your mama, gave me your number. I went to her asking for it, gave me your number, and I'm reaching out to you. I want to get to know you. And that's how I got to know her first. And then little Charlie, 8 months later, graduated high school. And the next thing I know, I'm at work, and I get called by my boss, and there's an Uber out in the circle block of California Hospital where I work. My nephew was getting out of the Uber. My mother had put him on a plane that night to California, and didn't tell me. She didn't tell me until I got outside to the parking lot. When I got outside the parking lot, my cell phone, my work cell phone rang, and it was her. She said, I need to let you know your nephew is coming out there. I said, Mother, I already know. I'm looking at him. We're standing face to face. I said, we're standing face to face. They called me and said that someone was out looking for me. I thought he was my brother when I walked out the front door of the hospital and caught a glimpse of him. Right away, I said, Charlie, my brother. And when I did, I realized it was not him. It was my nephew. He looked just like my brother. And I went to my knees crying. My boss thought I was having a heart attack because I was on my knees crying out in the parking lot. And I had to tell her, I said, no, my nephew's here. I haven't seen him in 20-something years. He looks like my brother. I called him my brother's name. And when I did, little Charlie went to crying because I called him his daddy's name. And I didn't mean to, but like I told him, you look just like my brother. And then I took him to Santa Barbara told my boss I'd take a couple of days off. I took him to Santa Barbara, got him checked into school, and then he played football the next November. Ended up hyperextending his knee. And the school brought him into California hospital, and I was at work. Brought him to California, and they went to immediately do an emergency surgery because he had hyperextended, and when he did, he hyperextended and rolled the whole leg, so the leg was upside down. And I didn't know he was there until he was in ER. He was in surgery, and the nurse came out and said, "Your nephew's in surgery, operating on the leg." And they took me in, and into the recovery room. And when he came out of the recovery, I was sitting in a chair asleep because I'd worked 72 hours because someone got hurt, so I was covering shift. I was asleep in the chair when they brought him in. He immediately, when he come by me, he reached over and slapped me to wake me up. And I jumped out of my chair and threw food that I had in my lap because I thought something was wrong. And they brought him out, and then I live in an SRO. I got permission for him to come stay with me for 3 months to recover because he was not going to be able to do it by himself. So he stayed with me for 3 months. And then when it come time for him to go back to school, he didn't want to go back to school. He wanted to stay with me and just drive back and forth to school. I said, no, you have a dorm. You have a dorm room over there with a roommate. You need to go back to campus and stuff and finish off. And he did. I'm proud of him. He got a degree, and he got his coaching degree, and did something right for once. And I feel like I did something right for once in my life. Made him take responsibility, as his daddy would say. He took his thing out of his pants and stuck it in the girl, got her pregnant. Take responsibility. And me knowing my brother like I know him not being here. When he told me that he got her pregnant, I looked at him and I said, I'm going to tell you right now what your daddy will tell you. I'm going to tell you, get your ass on a plane, go to Chicago, take care of that kid, take responsibility. I still love you, but be a man, take care of your kid. And then I get called and said he'd gotten married, and my mom said, what'd you tell your little nephew? What'd you tell the boy? I said, I did what my brother would have done, and that's made him take responsibility for pulling his dick out of his pants and sleeping with a girl. And he thanked me after he got married. He called me. He said, I want to thank you, Uncle James, for making me stand up and take responsibility for something that I knew I did and was scared to take responsibility, but you made me take responsibility. And Dad would have been saying, I said, yeah, your dad is looking over you now, proud of you. And he said, Dad's proud of you too, Uncle James, for making me stand up and be a man.
How did you lose your brother again?
He played football for a living in high school and got hit in the middle of the back. And then when he got 19 years old, he was walking and would fall. Get up, walk, and fall. And we took him to Houston, Texas, to a doctor, and And that's when the doctor said he had Lou Gehrig's disease and was going to have to go in a wheelchair. He went in a wheelchair at 19 years old and was not supposed to live.
He already had 2 kids?
Yeah, he was not supposed to live until past 25 years old. My brother lived until he was 45 years old in a wheelchair. And that was because my mother and my fucked up sister-in-law took care of him day in and day out, fed him, spoon-fed him, changed his diapers. And the good thing is the doctor was out of Houston, Texas. When we moved back to Dallas, Texas, when my brother went back there, the doctor drove from Houston, Texas, 4 times a day in and out, 4 times a day, to my brother's house and took care of him in his home and treated him medication-wise and didn't make my brother, didn't make my mom or my sister-in-law get in a car and put him in a car or an ambulance and bring him all the way to Houston. The doctor drove 4 days a week to Dallas, to my brother's home, and treated him, took care of him up until he died on December 24th of 2022.
James, let me ask you about your life a little bit. What you went through as a young man probably has impacted you greatly as an adult. In what ways do you think that's happened?
It's made me look at the bigger picture and take responsibility for my own shit that I've done to people that I shouldn't have done. And
you think you were born gay, or do you think that?
I have without a shadow of doubt. My grandmother told me from day one, it was hereditary. I was born that way, not to let people judge me. If they did, oh well, live my life. She'd be mad at me right now today, but I love you, grandmother, but I'm an addict. I smoke and slam crystal. Have been doing it since I was 19 years old, and can I have a hard time quitting. But basically here lately doing it because I'm supposed to be on psych meds. I'm not. I'm self-medicating.
What are you supposed to be treated for?
Bipolar.
You're bipolar?
Bipolar and manic, but I'm not taking my meds, so I'm self-medicating. And crystal keeps me mellow to where the psych meds are supposed to do that. And I'm scared to stop because I don't want to relapse.
What happens when you are not medicated?
My psychiatrist, she's bluntly told people that if I stop, she cannot provide the amount of Ativan that I would need to stay functional, because of the simple fact that I do four syringes of 60 cc crystal a day, and Ativan's only 2 milligrams per pill. She's not able to match the 4 syringes that I do a day to keep me mellow. So basically, she's told me to keep doing what I'm doing, self-medicating, until we can figure out how to gradually wean me off crystal and stuff.
Crystal meth helps you.
Where I be a functional adult, be functional without crystal meth. Right now, I'm functional with it, but
You're working a job now?
Huh? My boss is aware of I've been a phlebotomist for 12 years. I had my license transferred from Texas to here, and I work part-time for California. I'm an independent contractor, and basically, if CHP, CHP, Sheriff's Department, or PD bring an inmate in, or need someone to go draw blood at the scene, they call me because I'm an independent contractor. And I basically draw blood for the police department, CHP, and California Sheriff's Department. And when they call me to go to California Hospital, it's generally CHP or PD or the Sheriff's Department has brought an inmate in that needs blood drawn. And I can do that. And it's easier for them to have the CHP and PD and Sheriff's Department to have me come do it because I'm an independent contractor. I can't be called to the stand because of the fact that as an independent contractor, district attorney can't put me on the stand because I don't work for a specific agency. I have a contract to work, but I'm my own boss. And several times in the last year, Jackie Lacey, when she was district attorney, she on several occasions, I've known her for 10 years. She on several tried to put me on the stand, and the judge would look at her and say, "Ma'am, you cannot put him on the stand. He is an independent contractor. He's not employed by the hospital." So the judge looked at me and said, "Mr. Paez, you're excused." And Jackie Lacey would get mad in hell because she can't put me on stand and say, how many vials of blood did you draw on this inmate? Because I'm an independent contractor, so it makes it difficult for the police department, the district attorney's office to.
I understand.
Call me because I'm an independent.
Yeah,
so it makes it difficult.
You're living where now? Where do you live now?
I live at the Yankee on 7th in St. Julian. Mm-hmm. I was living at the Rivers, but a year and a half ago, I met a guy. He was homeless. He needed some help. I helped him. 6 months after I let him come stay with me, he started mixing fentanyl and crystal and heroin together. Came in, I was in the shower and shot 4 bullet holes in my shower and asked me if I was ready to die. And he left, went down the hall. When he did, I packed up all my belongings that were valuable and I left. I disappeared for 9 months. And then nine months ago, SRO called me and said, "Hey, where are you at?" I said, "I'm at work." They said, go to the Russ Hotel. We're gonna help you. We're gonna move you, help you get a place. So I was there. I was there for a month, and then moved into the Yankee, and stuff. But he had asked me. He came in and asked me, shot 4 holes in my shower, and asked me if I was ready to die. And I said, I looked at, turned around and showered, Buck asked me, told him, "Hey, if you're gonna do it, do it." Because I said, if you don't, I'm gonna hurt you first. I'm gonna hurt you. And he left to go in and get more stuff. And when he did, I knew in my head he was coming back to finish the job. So I packed up all my valuables and left, and didn't have any contact until 9 months ago when Anita Nelson, the CEO, I know her, called me and she said, "Hey, go to the Russ. We got you a room at the Russ. We're gonna help you get your place back." Stuff. And
how old are you, James?
I'm 50. I just turned 50 in September.
50. And your adult life has been, how would you describe it? You're generally happy?
I'm happy, but in 2015, April 1st of 2015, I met my boyfriend. He didn't tell me until after that he was HIV positive. I contracted HIV in April 1st of 2015. He didn't disclose. So I'm currently living the life of someone having HIV, undetectable. But I made a promise to myself and God Almighty that I would die before I let anybody else go through what I went through of someone not disclosing. And I make damn sure that if I meet someone young out there on the street and they're gay, I educate them. I say, "Sweetheart, ask questions before you crawl in bed with someone. You don't want to end up being like me." And 2 months after you sleep with a person, you find out you're HIV positive, and basically you're in their apartment and they laugh at you. You don't want to go through what I went through. So I say, ask questions, and if something happens, you get it. Remember, there is treatment. You can live a healthy life as long as you take care of yourself, you eat right. And I've basically draw blood and become an advocate for people to educate young people out there that are gay, that don't have it, to get them on prep and make sure that they ask questions. Don't be stupid like me and get high and get drunk and not care, crawl in bed with someone and just because you want to be happy. I regret it, but I don't look back and say I want to change it. I just move on and realize
Is that your biggest regret?
That's my biggest regret. But I move on and I'm able to educate people that, hey, ask questions. Don't just crawl in bed with somebody. And 9 months ago, I was leaving the Russ to go to work, and I didn't pay attention. I had my head down. I run out the front lobby door of the Russ Hotel, and I run over a kid. So, run him over. And from that day forward, me and this kid have been like this, best friends. And I have given him a nickname, Bubba, from Forrest Gump, my big baby, because he, if you don't get his way, he pouts.
When you say you ran in, you just ran
I
in.
run over him. I had my head down and didn't see him, and run over, bumped him, and knocked him down flat first on the ground. And
But you were on foot.
I stopped. I knocked him down.
But
I stopped.
You were on foot.
Yeah, I stopped because I was going to get an Uber. I stopped, turned around. When I did, I turned and realized I'd run him over. I helped him up, and from that day forward, we've been inseparable. We've been best friends. And then and 9 months ago, I gave him a nickname, Bubba, from Forrest Gump, because you tell him no, he goes and sits in a chair and pouts until he gets his way. And basically, I give in. When he pouts, whatever he wants, he can have it. Just make him happy. And then he's a good kid. He's got a 12-year-old boy. I'm Uncle James. I've only known him and his family a year and a half, and they've taken me under their wing every time they have a holiday. I go with them for holidays, and his little boy calls me every day, Uncle James, have you seen Daddy? And when that happens, I end up getting up and going looking for him and finding him, because when his boy calls me and says he wants to talk to Daddy, have I seen him? I immediately go looking for him, because I generally know where Jonathan's at the time. So I end up going getting him and use my phone to call his mama and his son to talk to him. I'm the go-between between him and mama and the kid, because before that, he had no contact. Mm-hmm. Now, me and his dad don't get along. His dad can't stand him because he's gay, and that's fine. Like I told his dad 2 days ago, I said, I'm gonna tell you right now, you pick up a glass like you did just now and throw it at him again. I said, you see this glass picture over here? I said, Abby, sorry. I said, I'm gonna take it and break it over your head. I said, you don't throw a glass at your son because you don't like him, because he's gay. I said, I'm gay. I said, out of respect, I respect you, but out of same token, I expect you to respect me and respect him. I said, he ain't done nothing to you. He ain't said nothing to you. He's speaking to his son and his mother. He ain't said one word to you. You get up out of your chair and grab your coffee cup full of hot coffee, and inside you're gonna throw it at him. Instead of throwing it at him, you hit me with a cup of hot coffee. I said, you're lucky I don't get it with your ass, because I said, that coffee's hot. I said, I know you were throwing it at Jonathan because you don't like him. But I said, out of respect, please sit in the chair and be quiet and let them finish visiting, because he ain't said one word to you.
James, let me ask you one more question. What would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
That people do care. Because I've gone all my life wondering day in and day out if anybody out there really gives a fuck about me. And realizing now, being 50 years old, that people do care. They just have a fucked up way of showing it. And my grandmother taught me that from day one, is that people care. And I will always hold her here, because she took me at 12 years old and kept me when no one else would. And if she hadn't, I'd be dead. Without a shadow of doubt, I'd be dead.
She saved your life.
She saved my life. And then when my dad was standing on court steps, she looked at him. She said, Jim, if you're going to pull the trigger, you better do it now. She said, the gentleman behind her boss, Dan left me, her boss was behind. She said, if you don't, this man behind you, he's got a gun in his waistband. He's a undercover. He's a bail bondsman. He's going to use it on you. If you don't pull the trigger, he will. Or you can back off and let me and Jimbo and him walk to the car, get in and leave, and not say nothing to us. But she says, I'm telling you now, make a choice, Jim. You've got the gun in your hand, you've got the gun pointed at Jimbo, make a choice. If you're gonna do it, do it. She just realized that when you shoot Jimbo, Dan's gonna shoot you, because that's how it's gonna go. Or Dan said, you let us walk on the car and get on the plane, go back, come to California. My dad stepped over to the side. We walked by. As we walked by, He told me, he said, you're not my son. You're a bastard. You can go to hell. I had tears in my eyes and kept walking. And Dan and Grandma, my grandma and Dan turned around and looked at him and said, you know what? You're fucked up for telling your son that. But she said, that's fine. She says, yeah, he's going to have a better life now that he's away from you. She said, guaranteed, mark it in your book, Jim. We're coming back in 2 weeks, and your nephew is going to prison. She said, I'm going to see to it. If I have to die in this courtroom, in this state courtroom, to make sure he does, he's going to prison. Come back. I no sooner got on the stand and then got off. The judge immediately, after I got off the stand, immediately said, you know what, there's no jury trial. Looked at my cousin, said, you're going to prison for 13 years, Miss Sir. Putting this boy said what you did. She said, we're not going to go, no trial. She said, the trial's over. She said, there's enough evidence to find you guilty. She said, you're going to prison. She said, you're not leaving the courtroom today. You're going from there to the bus and going to Texas State Prison in Austin for 13 years. He did 9 years, got out, ended up raping somebody and molesting someone again and going back for 9 more years. And he got shanked. I didn't know, he got shanked 9 months ago and survived it. But I'm not comfortable going, not comfortable because he tried to call me collect, he wrote me. I'm not comfortable because I'm still scared of him. So he can rot in jail as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you very much.